Good morning. Welcome to the Teach Better Today morning show, where the Teach Better team gets to join you live every single morning, Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern. We are currently streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn, as well as an episode of Teach Better Talk podcast. We have Justin Brown with us today, and I am so thrilled to bring him even more into our community. If you are already connected, you know this is going to be a good episode. And if you do not know Justin's story, then trust me, you're in for a treat. So grab your cup of coffee, chai tea latte, tea, whatever you're drinking this morning, and we'll be right back. Hey everyone, good morning. Thank you for tuning in. We have Justin here with us. Justin, how you feeling this morning?
Hey, good morning. I'm doing great, Ray. And thank you for everybody for tuning in this morning. Very excited.
I am so glad that we get to talk shop officially on the show today, because we've been able to talk shop in a lot of different mediums, but this is going to be one that we're able to share with everybody else. Justin, for our community who may not be connected to you, do you mind sharing just a little bit about yourself?
Hey, yeah, absolutely. My name is Justin Brown. I currently serve as the DEI director for the fifth largest district in Pennsylvania. I also run a Fortune 500 company known as Diversity Awareness Program, whose primary aspects are to conduct diversity trainings, programs, and workshops for individuals. I got my undergraduate degree at Slippery Rock University. Yes, it is an existing university. We were a Jeopardy question, and I got my master's at IUP in student affairs. I spent about 10 years of my life working with college students and made the pivot during COVID to work with K through 12 students, teachers, and staff primarily. My passions are bringing people together, having some really intentional conversations, building authentic relationships, and really trying to just help individuals make connections. I think a lot of times we have the abilities to make those connections, but sometimes we don't know where to find them. People will never really remember what you told them, but they will always remember how you made them feel. And rarely do people care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Justin, we've been able to connect prior, and I just feel like you have the coolest resume of anyone out there. Like, I know for, at least in my role, I don't see resumes anymore unless people are asking my opinion of them. But I just want you to know that I have made it my life's mission to now try and get as half as cool as a resume of what you've been able to do in your career thus far. And I'm so excited for our community here to benefit from all your experience and knowledge that you're able to share with people on a daily basis. It's a huge component of us all being better together when we learn from one another. So tell me a little bit about how you got into this field, right? How did you end up becoming somebody who's so successful in business, so successful in education? What in the world? How did this happen? Is there a magic pill I can take?
There isn't a magic pill. I wish there was. If anything, I would say the magic pill is being able to watch those who are around you, surround yourself with people who are doing what you want to do, and take chances. I went into school thinking I was going to be a psychology major, and then I heard some of the psych theories, and then I was like, psych, I don't think this is what I want to do. And I had mentors alongside of me say, hey, I think communication is where you want to be. I went to a primarily white institution, and I found myself being like the only pepper in the milk in most spaces. Like, I was the only black face or the person of color that was in a space, and I was having a lot of microaggressive situations that were happening to me. It then occurred to me that you can't be the change you want to see, you got to teach the change you want to see. So me and a few friends of mine created this program called Building Bridges, where essentially what we did was we created workshops, programs, trainings, icebreakers, team builders to kind of get people that were on the university campus to get to know each other better. We broke like 3 fire codes, and the biggest place that could hold us on campus was the alumni house. And we would have these sessions with topics like microaggressions, empathy, understanding, respect, background, men and women relationships, whatever. And we would bring students together every Tuesday for once a week, and we would foster these activities that would have team builders, icebreakers, role plays, social experiments. It would get people up, moving around, and it was really changing the climate of our campus. You know as well as I know that culture change takes 3 to 5 years. So when we had our first year students coming in saying, "Oh, okay, I see that this is going to be a community that revolves itself around making sure that everybody feels like they belong, everybody has a seat at the table. It shouldn't matter what your lived background is, your lived experience, or how you choose to identify. There's a place for you here." That that mode of thinking and that blueprint ultimately led me to creating diversity awareness program. Now I've been trained in every single DEI background training you can do, from the NAACP, from NCBI, which is the National Coalition Building Institute, from bystander awareness, whatever you could think of. So I decided, my junior year, I was going to go out and start my own business and created LLC, it was Diversity Awareness Program. And I've been doing workshops and programs and trainings ever since. The primary goal is trying to get people to harness their own skills. So everybody thinks you have to be some type of DEI expert, and I don't believe that. I believe that everybody is an expert in their lived experiences. It's just a matter of being able to come to the table and being able to talk about it. But we move and operate in places that don't let us have those conversations, right? Like at work, you don't go up to your friends and say, "Hey, let's talk about institutional racism," right? That's not a thing, right? At work, you say, "Hey, how you doing? How's your family?" And you keep on moving. Just like in, university, the business aspect, nonprofit sector, like all of those, we never take the time to really sit down and really understand everyone's background, what they bring to the table. Everybody has something really special and unique that they bring to the table. It's just a matter of us trying to figure out what that is, being able to build those connections, building brave spaces. Notice we didn't say safe spaces, brave spaces, where people just come in and be authentic, be themselves. And it's a matter of making sure that everybody's on board, because
I love so many elements of this dialogue already, including the note about brave spaces. I would love to challenge those in our comments as we're having this conversation to ask questions. Justin and I are obviously monitoring those comments and very, very happy to continue this conversation there. As you're thinking through how this could apply to you as an educator, we have educators in the classroom that are listening, administrators that are listening in leadership roles, and then everything in between. And we so appreciate all of you being here, a part of this conversation. Justin, we're going to get into our team talk section, which is where we get to dive into some specifics, some strategies. I know our community is going to be eager to hear from you and learn from you. So we'll be right back. Hey everyone, we are here with Justin and we are diving into our Team Talk segment, which for those of you who are, listen to the show every single morning, this is a segment where we get to talk shop and get some really good ideas. Justin's going to have them. Justin, I know there's so many pieces to what you do. There's so many things we could talk about. This could be a day-long workshop and we still would not get all the tools and resources that we need to be our best selves, especially in a conversation that I know many educators are interested in, weary of, and, want to be their best self as they persevere through. Tell me a little bit about what you hope our community here takes away from connecting with you today. Obviously, this is, a short conversation. We got like 20 minutes to talk here. That's not enough. What is a major takeaway you hope educators really take with them as they head into the rest of their day?
Absolutely. I think the landscape of education has changed a little bit. There are days where we have to be teachers. There are days we have to be counselors, advisors, parents, friends, supporters, and we have to know what hat to wear in any particular situation. You don't want to walk into a situation wearing a top hat when what you really needed was a fedora. So what you really have to do is really pay attention to the students, right? Every student needs something different. And just like for those who have parents parent your child very differently. We have to treat our students differently. And not every student needs the exact same thing. In order to figure that out, you got to go the next step. You got to be able to find out what makes the student tick, what makes the student successful, what makes the student connected to you. How do you create that authentic relationship? How do you touch that student's heart? How do you create an impact? Because what we find is that those who are in education can always remember who was that one person that had a positive effect on them while they were in school and why they are now continuing this educational platform. As educators, it's the hardest time right now to be an educator than it's ever been. We have to bring tools. We're constantly being asked to do new things. Teachers are a national treasure. People don't understand that. Being in education right now is super, super essential for how our country's moving forward and how our students are truly growing and developing. What I would ask professionals to do is to figure out what keeps you in the game, because if you think about it, each person that's probably listening right now can probably list one or two people that are in education, and you're like, I don't know if education is for you. Why did you choose that you were in education? And I'm sure there are times where some of your viewers come in and they look like this on their face, but in their heart, they're really feeling like this. We got to figure out what our passions are, figure out what's going to keep us in the game. You never want to be out of the game, especially when it's fourth and inches and you're in the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl. Every day is like that, right? Every day you have the ability to come in and breathe power and bring life to truth and be able to make an impact on students. And our students deserve that. They deserve that we make sure that we get it right on the first try. Also, as educators, we don't have the luxury to pick and choose which students we want to support. Regardless of their lived background, their lived experience, or how they choose to identify, we have to show up and support our students. They need that. They need it to be successful. And in a world now where students are often comparing themselves with the next person, I think social media has really changed the landscape too for educators, right? Because we see these teachers and they post these really cute things of what they're doing in their classrooms, and we're like, oh, we like that. But our students aren't really looking at that. Our students are looking at, wow, this person has it really good, or this person's doing better than me, or this person looks better than me, this person has more money than me. And there's a big aspect here on mental health. And we do the same thing as adults, right? We look at things and think that we need to be what that person's being, and that affects how we feel about ourselves. But as adults, we've had a little bit more training on how to delineate what's the truth and what's not the truth. Social media is not a real place. It doesn't really exist, but yet it directly affects our students. Mental health conversations need to be at the forefront of a lot of the dialogue that we're having today as educators, because, like I said, some of us are advisors, parents, teachers, supporters, coaches, but sometimes we're also mental health professionals being saying, hey, you got to take some time for yourself. You got to do things that feed your soul, that pump up your heart, that make you feel good, that remove negativity and toxicity away from your life and brings life to what you're doing. Our students need to know that we care, and they need to also know that they are enough, that no matter what they do, they are unique and they are enough.
So if an educator's listening right now and thinking, oof, love this. Yes, Justin, everything you say is gold. I'm in. Sign me up to be better in this area. Is there anything that they could do as early as today, or maybe just later this week? Is there any step they could take or question they could pose to their students that could make them feel like they're headed in the right direction and being better in this area?
Yeah, absolutely. For myself, I always say that I wish that I'm trying to be the administrator that I wish that I had when I was in school. So you have to think about that too, because my needs at school are very different than the needs of the students they have today. For students, they want to know that you care. So how do I show you that I care? How do I show up authentically each and every day? How can I help you be a better learner? How can I help you feel more supported? Educators that are listening right now, you have no idea. You may be the only positive comment that a student hears for the whole week. You might be the only person that breathes life, truth, facts, kindness, respect, harmony, understanding, and empathy into a student's life in any particular day. That holds a lot of power. In fact, what we find is that most students have positive experiences in the classroom with positive teachers. So even if you're not feeling positive, you have to show up as your best self. And if you can only give 80% that day, give 100% of that 80%. If you can't give 100% of that 80%, be authentic. I find that students also know who they can talk to and who they can't talk to. I show up as my authentic self. A big thing in my area of where I work is sports. People love their sports town. So, if I'm a big Philadelphia Eagles fan, if the Philadelphia Eagles lose and I go talk to my sports teams or my athletic student, they're like, Mr. Brown, oh, they lost yesterday. And I'm like, I know, right? I don't come in and say, oh, yeah, that was terrible. Okay, turn to book 3. No, no, we're being authentic. Or if something sad happens and the community needs to reach across the aisle and talk to each other, whether that's a flood or a fire or someone unfortunately passes away, we got to show up and be authentic. We got to be real people and not robots. Students feel those vibes. They know who they can go to and who they can't go to, or they know who they can and cannot go to. I love the term brave space because there's no such thing as safe spaces. At any given point in time, someone can come in and interrupt that safe space. As if I came on here and said, the Dallas Cowboys were a great team. Sorry to all those who may be Dallas Cowboys fans, but that space no longer might be safe for you. So you got to be able to come in and be a little bit authentic, be a little bit vulnerable, show support, and empathy is a choice. And it's a vulnerable choice because we have to be able to dive into something that knows that feeling, putting ourselves into someone else's shoes. Rarely does a kind word ever make someone feel better. What makes someone feel better is connection.
I would love to challenge our community here to really take what Justin's sharing to heart. And as many of us continue to lesson plan and be incredible educators in our instructional space, I know many of you listening use Mastery Learning, which already requires you to get to know your students on a personal level. Make sure that you are intentional about that time being included in a daily interaction with students. If you need to put it at the top of your to-do list of your lesson plan, to take the time to get to know your students, that's absolutely something that you can do. For many of you, I know it's during those daily interactions, those daily conferences, build in that time to have authentic conversations, not just about the content, but about the people that are in your classroom on a daily basis. Justin, there is so much more that we can share, and there is so much more you are sharing on a daily basis with your community. Do you mind sharing how our community can stay connected to you, whether it be your social media handles, website, anything in between, to allow them to continue work in this space?
Yes, absolutely. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. That's Justin Brown. I also have a website called Diversity Awareness Program with some classes and some training modules on there. So feel free to check out that as well. I'm also on Instagram. I'm also on Twitter. So feel free to contact me there. So there's a multitude of different ways that individuals can contact me.
Friends, I want to kind of end on a very interesting note. Justin and I connected because if I remember right, Justin, you just reached out. You were like, I just want to know more about this Teach Better crew. And I love to celebrate educators choosing to expand their professional learning networks by just saying hello to a new face that you haven't interacted with. Do you mind sharing a little bit about why you feel like that's so important?
You never want to shut the door on yourself, right? I try to leave doors unlocked that I already have walked through. I don't want to make someone make the same, work and reinvent the wheel when someone's already done this. You got to make sure you have a seat at the table, because if you don't have a seat at the table, most likely you're on the menu. And the worst that someone can say, Ray, is no. So when I reached out, you were like, yes, absolutely. I reached out to NASA. Now I'm an ID practitioner. So, I'm looking at the equity in their astrophysics division and looking at equity in their proposals. I reached out to Ruby Bridges, and now I'm on the Ruby Bridges Foundation. Like, there's so many different things that you can do. The worst that someone can say to you is no. Take that crazy idea that you've been sitting on for 2, 3, maybe even 4 years, and just take a shot at it, because regardless of what's going to happen, time is going to pass, and time is still the undisputed champion of the world. Time stops for no one. So go out there and make the best of what you can do.
So many takeaways, Justin. Thank you so much for starting off our morning. There was so many good things that I know we are going to be thinking on for the rest of the day, and a few challenges that I hope our community truly chooses to take a step in that direction. Thank you so much for bringing this to the table.
Thank you so much for having us. And everybody, continue to teach better, continue to be better today.
Ooh, so good. Friends, have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you tomorrow morning for Teach Better Day Morning Show. Bye, guys. Hey, Teach Better community. Thank you so much for joining the Teach Better Today morning show every single weekday at 7 a.m. Eastern. We have so many resources for you outside of this live stream at teachbetter.com, including blogs, podcasts, and professional development that will bring our team to your school. Wherever you are listening from this morning, please make sure you are sharing and celebrating the incredible educators in this world. And hey, if you are listening over on a podcast to Teach Better Talk, we would love a 5-star review. The comments are always so entertaining. We'll see you tomorrow.